Most people drive through Grady County, Georgia without realizing that crossing land that wasn't even open to American settlers until 1814. That's not ancient history. That's a blink. And the story of how this corner of southwest Georgia went from contested Creek territory to a thriving farming county in less than a century is one that deserves a lot more attention than it gets. Let's put you on the map first. Grady County sits at the very bottom of Georgia, right on the Florida state line, covering 458 square miles of deep South Georgia terrain. It was created on August 17, 1905, making it one of the youngest counties in the state, Georgia's 139th, with only 17 counties younger. The county seat is Cairo, and if you've never been, know that locals don't pronounce it like Egypt. The county was named after Henry Woodfin Grady, the influential editor of the Atlanta Constitution and one of the most celebrated orators of the post-Civil War South, the man who preached a new South rising from the ashes of Reconstruction. But before Henry Grady's name was ever attached to this land, before Cairo was a dot on any map, this entire region belonged to the Creek Nation. The land wasn't ceded to the United States until the 1814 Treaty of Fort Jackson, signed in the aftermath of Andrew Jackson's decisive defeat of the Upper Creeks at the Battle of Horseshoe Bend during the War of 1812. That treaty cracked open a hard frontier strip along the Florida border, and settlers began filtering south almost immediately. One of the earliest was a Baptist preacher named William Hawthorne, who blazed a 40-mile trail through genuine wilderness in the early 1800s and put down roots along a creek south of where Cairo would eventually stand, a waterway with one of the most evocative names in Georgia, Tired Creek. One of the oldest congregations in the county, Tired Creek Primitive Baptist Church, still traces its roots back to those first settlers who came down those Carolina trails looking for land and a new start. When Grady County was officially carved out of portions of Decatur and Thomas counties in 1905, it needed a county seat, and two towns wanted that designation badly: Cairo and Wigan. The rivalry between them wasn't friendly. It was the kind of political maneuvering that defines small southern communities, where a courthouse means commerce, visibility, and permanence. Cairo won. Once it did, the town moved fast. By 1908, the county had its first courthouse and jail standing at 250 North Broad Street, a building that wore a bold label on its identity: the original diversified farming county of the Southeast. The old Atlantic Coastline Depot, built in 1905, was the artery that made it all work, moving Grady County's products north and giving this remote corner of Georgia a connection to the wider economy. Then, in 1980, fire took the courthouse. It burned to the ground. But here's what matters. The county didn't relocate, didn't redesign, didn't erase. They rebuilt on the exact same site. That's not stubbornness. That's identity. The rebuilt courthouse still stands on North Broad Street today, surrounded by Veterans Square, designated in 2003, with memorials and monuments that anchor Grady County's sense of itself in the landscape. The old depot that once moved timber and farm goods now houses the police department. The bones of the original county are still visible if you know where to look. Grady County, Georgia today is home to around 24,600 people. It sits within the Plantation Trace Travel region of southwest Georgia, a stretch of the state that carries deep layers of history: Native American, frontier, agricultural, and civic. What endures here is what endured from the beginning: the land itself, the churches, and a stubborn insistence on staying rooted. A preacher blazed a trail through wilderness to reach Tired Creek. A county rebuilt its courthouse on the ashes of the old one. That thread runs unbroken from 1814 to today. If you want to keep going deeper into Georgia's 159 counties, because every single one has a story like this, subscribe to Georgia DNA. We're covering all of them, one county at a time.